I'll welcome you guys back into my video over here. I have a nice beautiful topic today on how to go about life. You have to realize that in order for you to go about life, you have to realize that the world never matters and that Jesus does. You have to understand that in order for you to have a natural communication with someone, you need to be growing. You also have to be learning the skills needed to grow. You have to understand that no matter what, that those people who grow are always foundational in the way they live, and they live in the heart the most. You have to understand the heart has nothing to do with what's up here. You have to understand the heart is more the emotions. You have to understand in order to have positive emotions in life and to look more mature in daily life, you need to grow your emotions. You need to be a person who's eating better. You have to be a person who's more knowledgeable. You need more knowledge in anything. You have to understand that any knowledge will get you there. You have to understand that you never just stick to one part of knowledge in life. You keep growing in the knowledge of all life forms. Knowledge is a life form. The more that you study knowledge, I promise you the more you're going to figure out who Jesus is. You have to understand that all ways will get you there. You have to understand what that means. You have to understand that all the knowledge in the world that you ever hear in life is from Jesus Christ. You understand? You have to understand that you just keep learning and becoming wiser and wiser and wiser. And in order to do that, you need to be a reader. You have to be reading what's going on with Jesus. You have to understand that it's the fastest road to success. You have to understand that the best road in life is going and studying something that's really going to make you foundational, because you understand that the more you learn and grow, and the faster you do, you will amplify momentum in your life. You will have so much momentum in your life where you can go out and succeed and spread out the good vibes. You have to understand that the best vibe in life is never your mother and father and family and anyone around you and anybody you've seen in life except for Jesus. I promise you that when you're spreading good vibes, you're only spreading Jesus. I promise you that the only good vibe in life is Jesus. I promise you that no other names in history are more important. I promise you, including me and my name, I promise you no matter what, that I am in Jesus' name now. You have to understand that those people who naturally talk and are natural about how they go about life really teach life skills and how to skill up. You have to be a person who's skilling up always. You have to be a person who's really never falling for it. You're never falling for life. You have to understand what that means. You have to understand that many people fall for life in a term that they fall in love. They're falling in love. You never fall in love with anything. You have to understand that you only fall in love with growing in Jesus' name. You only fall in love with Jesus because Jesus is always going to teach you more. I promise you, Jesus never hurt you. I promise you that Jesus never hurt you and never will hurt you. I promise you, Jesus never landed a finger on you and never touched you, although Jesus saved your life, because Jesus came into this world and died for you. You have to understand that Jesus is God in disguise and came into this world to give you the good news that you are saved in eternity, because anyone before Jesus never made it. You have to understand that no matter what, those people who read my messages, I hope you do share. I hope you do share my message around, because no matter what, it's never my message. I need you to understand that I'm a messenger of God. I need you to understand that I only spread this message and material, which is knowledge in material. You have to understand, I only spread it for Jesus. You would be sharing this for Jesus. You will never be sharing it for me. You never share this video. You are rejecting Jesus. You are never rejecting me. I need you to understand that with Jesus, I'm indestructible. Nobody can shake me. You understand? Because those people who talk crap about me and backstab me are only backstabbing Jesus. You understand? I never care. You have to understand that many people are going to throw rocks at you, and this means that they are going to get angry at you and negative on you and are going to cause violence if you go around them. I never need you to go around life that is negative. I need you to realize that you got to stay away from people who may kill you, because you have to understand that you go and live life fully. Although when you're about to die and when you're about to get killed, I need you to let go. I need you to just realize that you'll never die. I need you to realize that no matter who kills you in life, that you'll never die, because Jesus would raise you up from your coffin. You understand? You understand that 3 days later you'll be risen anyway. You have to understand that you've been saved. You'll never come into the world again. You have to understand, in order for you to outmaneuver everybody in this life, and you have to realize that speed is everything. You have to understand that speed and contradiction in terms in Jesus Christ is the only way that you can live life. I mean, you never go about what the world says, you go about what Jesus said. I promise you that everybody else in this lifetime will hurt you. I mean, they will reject you. I promise you that Jesus will never reject you. I promise you that Jesus is still with you always, and you just have to go seek Jesus out. You have to understand that the most important way for you to really live life is to be quick on your toes. You have to understand, you have to think quick. You have to do quick. You understand? You never think about it. You just go and do it. You understand? Because when you think about it, you'll never do it. You understand? You have to understand that the first action in life is just go and do it. You learn as you go. I promise you that those who think about doing anything never do it. I plan and plan and plan and plan inside of my journal, and I do as I plan. I mean, I may write something about my life so that you understand what's going on. I'm doing my life in my journal. I'm my journal of what I've written in life in terms of life and more. I'm more than everything in life for myself. In Jesus' name. I will, although, never rise above Jesus, although Jesus has said that I can. I also now realize that I will rise above Jesus and everybody, because it's about being positive and being open-minded, because that's the only way to cure your life and be a positive person throughout life, to lift and inspire people around you, because that's the only way to go about life. You have to understand that those people who are quick and enthusiastic about the life and have no crime and do no evil, I promise you, are the people who are doing more Jesus work than anything else in the world. I promise you that the perfect representation of life is Jesus Christ. I want you to understand that those people who go about life and really study to succeed and are worthy of more are the ones who are really learning more. I realize that they are the ones who are really doing everything in their power to uplift and to inspire and to be grateful for who they are. You have to realize that you need to take your communication slowly every single day in your journal, and you have to realize that over time you write 50 pages of content in your journal every single day about yourself. I promise you, over 10 years, you accumulate all this wisdom about you. I mean, you will mature far more and love yourself far more than everybody else. You understand? I mean, you have to understand that the more you write about yourself, the more you love yourself. I just say to go and do that every single day, and that's how we go about life. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, it's just one action step. I mean, the whole life that we live today is just one action step. You just have to realize that you break down your communication, and then you lift people in a way that you be in a forgiving style, you be in a state of forgiveness, and you let go of your emotions. You let go and you let God. You let God. You're talking and you're relaxing, and you can be in any type of position to be able to talk. You never have to be fixated in one position in order for you to speak, because otherwise you have tension. You have to realize that you let go and you just start to speak. You teach yourself to speak much more in daily life. You teach yourself to speak more incredibly. You have to understand, I move my hand signals around so that I can learn how to communicate with my hand signals. I need to do that more so that I can realize that I can talk better, I can talk faster, I can really break it up while I'm using my hand signals right here. You have to understand, no matter what, that below this video I've been using my hand signals. I can show you. You have to realize that those people who really find the way to express themselves, you understand? You're just using a nice orchestrate with your hands. You're just showing the people in the crowd what you're supposed to be doing. You have to understand, that's the only important difference. You have to understand that when you're really flying in the air, you're really doing something to really love yourself. You can see the enthusiasm when you're using your hand signals. You have to understand, you have to use your hand signals even when you talk with people. I mean, when you're on the street, you go, do you understand who I am? I love you, brother. I love you, give me a hug. I mean, you never have to tell them that you're using your hand signals to speak with them. You just, instead of you speaking this way with them, you move around. I mean, you move more around. Let them be so confused about you in a way that they don't know what you're doing with your hand signals, although you're growing them. I mean, never confuse people. You're never making them aware that you're using your hand signals in order for you to keep going. You have to sum up a better way for you to use your hand signals in a way that you can even do some karate. You can do some karate, you can do some chops, you can do some nice beautiful gestures. You can realize that you can do something beautiful when you meditate. You see how I changed the story around? Because those people who do can really find out a better way to go about life. You have to understand, you have to change your story every single day in a better way. You never must be the person who's staying the same in life. You must never stay the same. You must always be a person who's really growing, who's prospering, who's loving your life, who's Jesus. You understand? I mean, I use my hand signals here below so I can practice, so I can really see how I can speak. I promise you, that's all I'm doing. You have to understand, it's just, you need to practice. You need to realize that when you're in the pool, you can do a video also. You can do a video in the pool, and you can be running, and you can be teaching people in the pool how you're really doing everything. You have to be a person who's staying consistent with your videos every single day. I mean, how do I go about 3 hours a day of video content? I mean, most people can never even do 20 minutes a day. I mean, I started with 1 minute. I started with the first step. I just kept on doing 1 minute takes. I mean, you build 5,000 minutes or 5,000 videos with you in 1 minute each. I promise you're going to start building some confidence on camera. I promise you that is all it really takes for you to really improve your life. You have to understand that those people who are really successful are really never distracted by the world around them. I promise you that the people who are really foundational in what they're saying and what they're doing. You need to be a person who really loves to have attention, because that way you will gain some attention. And you understand? Because those people who have no popularity are really scared to have popularity. You have to understand that those people who have no popularity and fame and attention in life from many people are really people who never rose to the occasion together. I rise to the occasion every single day. I post massive photos of myself that is really, really the best photos in my life that I've ever taken. I feel great. I post results. I make sure no matter what, I orchestrate my life around how can I give more value today than ever. I promise you, no matter what, I'm always taking care of myself, because sometimes you have 20 people messaging you. You can never get to everybody. You have to understand that you need to orchestrate your life around yourself the most, because that way you're going to increase your time capacity and your life, and you're going to have more happiness being with yourself than anybody else. I promise you that no amount of communication with other people is ever going to make you happier. You have to understand that all the communication in the world is with yourself. You have to understand that the more you talk with yourself in a positive way, the more you'll find Jesus. I promise you, no matter what, the more positive you are, the more you're growing. You have to understand that Zig Ziglar said, positivity will get you further than negativity ever will. I'd rather be positive than negative. I promise you that Jesus stood for positive side. I promise you that Jesus was only positive. I promise you that many people are negative because they're never following the positive side of Jesus. I mean, when you're on the positive side, you're everything in terms of the words in life that is positive. You have to understand that Jesus stood for just positivity. I mean, there was no negativity in that guy. You have to understand that in order for you to be positive, you just go and study Jesus. You just go there. You find someone in daily life who is really positive and you learn from them. Although, when they teach you something, I promise you they're teaching you Jesus. I promise you they're teaching you other methods though. You have to understand that I'm a life coach in the positive realm. I'm a life coach also in a negative realm to teach you the negative aspects of life. I mean, I teach you the good and evil. I promise you that I may make a video on how to stop anger, which I did already. I promise you that I don't flip it. I flip it and I tell you how to get rid of it in the positive side. You understand? You have to realize that positivity will solve every problem in your life. You understand? You have to understand that those people who really, really rely on other people are really, really, let's say, losing it, because you have to rely on Jesus only. You never rely on anybody else. You need to be a person who's really studying and coaching yourself how to grow, because that's the only way that you're really going to make anything in life. You have to understand the only thing that you're making in life is Jesus Christ. You're making more of Jesus in your life. have to understand that those people who go against Jesus are really stupid people who never even know what they're doing. I mean, they're the people that will kill Jesus. You understand? I mean, when a person goes against Jesus, I promise you, they're the people who hate Jesus and will stone him and kill him. You have to understand that there is people today who would say, I don't know Jesus, I don't care about him. I'll kill him. I'll never kill anybody. You have to understand that no matter what, you just be a person who's really positive. You will be so positive that you will go and study who Jesus is. I promise you that those people who never even say that I'll go and study Jesus because they believe that Jesus is some criminal, I mean, they're just assuming it. You have to understand that there are many people in life who are scared to go and follow Jesus because of what the crowd has said. I mean, those people never grow, you understand? You have to go and study the Buddha and the religion and everything. You have to go study Jesus. You have to go study everything in order to become a better person and in order to increase your fame and whatever in terms of life. I mean, you're only increasing your life expectancy and longevity and your fame and fortune, and you have also, for example, anything to do with wisdom is the best foundation of life in order I promise you, in order for you to really live life. You have to understand that in order for you to really move about life in a better way, you need to make more sense. You need to realize that in this video, I've taught you some communication skills in how to really live life. You have to realize that it's all about, let's just realize what you can do to really emphasize yourself better. You realize that no matter what, in this video, I can just go about what I do. I can just teach you. I can just teach you because I have the breathing capacity to teach you. I quit smoking. I can breathe now. I can really teach you in a video. I quit drugs. I never have to go in a nightclub because I can be here on the camera for you, for Jesus Christ, to teach you something. I mean, you have to understand that those people who go and do nothing all day are the people who are druggers. I mean, they're the people who are homeless in the street. I mean, they're just receiving something and doing nothing about it. I mean, life is going to topple them. I mean, life is going to throw them on the street. You have to understand. You have to understand that you go and be on the offense, so you never have to be on the street. You have to go and study more and more and more about life. I mean, when somebody asks you, are you open-minded about Jesus? I promise you when they say no, I promise you they're already lacking so much. I mean, they're people who you never need in life. You never need them. You understand? Because they never listen to you. You have to understand, you have to be open-minded to everything. You have to be a person who's really taking care of yourself more though. I promise you that many people are going to say, I need you to share me and subscribe to me. I don't even know you. I mean, you have to understand that I go and subscribe to Jesus only. I only share Jesus. You have to understand that. I've got nothing against anybody in any type of country. You have to understand that even Africa is a country that can grow. You have to understand that even any country can grow. You have to understand that you just be positive about everything that's said, and you melt what they say into Jesus and what Jesus said. I mean, you're just grabbing information and you're being a knowledge broker, as Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi say. You're being a life coach, you're being a miracle worker. You're being someone who can really study the path of Jesus and really give the testimony of God. You have to understand that is all the positivity in the world. You have to understand that no matter what, that you're living a life and that you say it and that you're in eternity. You're in eternity. You have to understand that those people who never realize this really need help. I mean, you need to be open-minded. You need to be curious. You need to be really on your feet. I promise you that in daily life, I have so many solutions that I just have to put it in video. I realize that I never go backwards. I only go forwards. I never think about the crowd. I never think about the crowd and what they're doing because they're always trying to pin me down. I mean, they're always ignorant about what I do. I mean, they never come to see what I do. I realize that I don't care. I realize that some people come and see. I realize that those people share me around because I'm so positive. I mean, you have to understand that in life, you have to plan where you're going to go. I plan around Australia for 1 year. I mean, now is the 28th of July. I mean, it's the 28th of June and the 4th of July is a week away. I have been traveling since the 4th of July. I left Sydney and I've been traveling Australia. I returned to Sydney recently. I came to Brisbane now. I am just a person who on the go who's really learning all the life skills and picking up all the information around me and putting it into content and driving it in a way that I can live a Jesus lifestyle more and more. I realize that many people are going to be aggressive and negative around you and how successful you are. You just go and communicate to everybody in a free way where you're just growing with them. I promise you it's that simple. I promise you, although when you need to grow alone, I promise you that you go and never reply to those people who are messaging you, because you have to understand that sometimes you have to have your own alone time. I promise you that other people can rage you. I promise you that other people can say, I need you to share this. I promise you that nobody's going to say for you to do anything in that term unless you are smart enough and more than smart enough to say, I need more love for myself here than giving that guy love. I don't even know the guy. I just met him online. You have to understand that you need to be a person who's way smarter than those people. You never fall in love with the world. You never fall in love. You just keep growing. You keep growing. You never fall in love with a woman where you see her on the street. You go up to her to grow her. You never go up to her to date her. You never date anybody in life. You have to understand that you never go and date guys. You go and grow guys. I mean, a woman can grow a man. I mean, anybody can grow a man or woman when you're really growing yourself. I promise you, when you're lifting people and you're giving them ideas, I promise you the only person you're growing is yourself. I promise you, although that those people around you who grab an idea from you can take the opportunity and invest in the opportunity. I mean, they can invest the opportunity to listen to your idea and grow themselves. I promise you that I listened to Zig Ziglar when he said, all you have to do is stay away from foods to lose weight. I just went and done that. I mean, I had to go into the supermarket and I had to make the supermarket, which is the food supermarket, my university, and I had to go and study everything in terms of what they have on the nutrition labels all by myself. I mean, nobody's going to do it for me. I mean, you can go and give money to some expert who is certified and who works a 9-to-5 job to give you all those details for $1,000 per session. I mean, you just may as well go and learn it yourself. I mean, it's going to take time. I realized that it took me 46 months to become knowledgeable as the way I am. I realized no matter what, it's taken me even longer to really, really live life even more. I realized no matter what, I'm never taking my life. I'm only investing my life in a better way. I have to realize that it's really, I invested 46 months of my life to study nutrition. I realized that no matter what, I've been studying nutrition, I still study nutrition. I just drink water and soy milk. You have to understand that is everything I drink in life. I mean, mineral water and water, which is sparkling and mineral, and also the soy milk. I drink nothing else in life. You have to understand that I drink soy milk as I have over here 30 grams of protein per litre. I drink 2 litres of soy milk every day. I realise no matter what, that I'm always full of energy. I have bread, I also have peanut butter. You have to understand that it's all full of protein and plant protein that you need. You have to understand that you need more plant protein in your life. You need more canned foods. You have to go and study what canned foods are. You have to understand that canned foods are really something that has potato in it and has tomatoes in it and has anything of chickpeas in it and lentils and beans and all of that. You have to understand that you only go for the foods that are really, really high in plant protein. I mean, when you're looking at the label in terms of nutrition, you study and you see that you only ever look at the side that says per 100 grams, you understand? Because you never do the per serving size. You'll look at the nutrition over here, you'll say per 100 grams there is 25 grams of protein per 100 grams. How many 100 grams inside of here? I mean, there's 375 grams in a peanut butter. So what's 3 times 25? You can see that's 75 grams of protein when you eat a jar of peanut butter. You have to understand that it's a bit more than that. You have to understand that there's another 14 extra. You have to understand that it's still going to help you. You have to understand that with $5 you can get 84 grams of protein. You have to understand with $5 you can get yourself you can get yourself 5 bananas and get yourself 5 grams of protein. You can go and get yourself apples and you can go get 50 kilos of apples and you'll grab less than 3 grams of protein. You understand? I mean, fruits have no protein in it. You have to understand that fruits are excellent for everything else. I mean, they're excellent for nutrients and minerals and vitamin C's and all the vitamins and everything that you need in terms of nutrients. Although that spirulina has chlorophyll, where you can get special products where you can get actual chlorophyll, which is a nutrient, which is the highest, best nutrient that you ever need in life. You would just be even more fulfilled having that as your drink every single morning in the spirulina and barley grass factor than going to get fruits alone. I mean, fruits are nice and will give you some natural sugars. I mean, they're nice in the summer. You have yourself a peach, you have yourself something, you understand? I mean, you're just having a nice taste. You're having a nice taste there. You're never really eating that for dinner. You can never eat fruits and vegetables. I mean, you can eat vegetables for dinner. You can never eat fruits for dinner. You understand? You can never eat fruits for dinner. You have to understand that fruits will only ever be a snack. I mean, you have to understand that anything that's a snack is a variety meal. You can only ever have fruits for a variety meal and have something extra to spice up your life. You know, sugar term that is natural sugar only. I never need you to eat processed sugar and processed foods. I need you to understand that fruits are up there in the terms of health. I promise you, although that vegetables are much more important than fruits. You have to understand that vegetables have nuts and seeds. Also, you have, for example, lentils and beans and peanut butter and bread. You have to understand that bread is from the ground. You have to understand that also that you're just a person who is really, really growing. And for example, with life, you just have to be a person who's really studying upon how to eat better and how to do better. You have to live much better to your potential so you can really find what you're really saying, and you have to study yourself and what your foods are so you can really, really organize yourself around what you say. You have to understand that you must really learn everything about your life. You have to understand that bread, for example, is a wheat product and derives from the ground. You have to understand that whole grain products you can have in pasta and you can have also in rice. You have to understand that rice is a vegetable. You have to understand that anything that's grown from the ground is a vegetable. I mean, for example, bread is a vegetable. You have to understand that it's all grown from the ground. You understand? Yes, you have to understand that anything that's grown on trees, though, is a fruit. I mean, bread is a vegetable. I mean, rice is a vegetable. I mean, pasta is a vegetable. You just have to be able to go and eat more vegetables in life. I promise you that vegetables are the best. I mean, carrot is a vegetable, although carrot has no protein in it. I mean, it has little protein. I need you to go and eat the vegetables that have the most protein. I promise you that vegetables have nothing to do with animal food. I promise you go and stick to the vegetable diet. I promise you that you'll go live a better life. I promise you although that you go and only study everything. You go and study everything in life because you only have to eat about 1% of the vegetables in order for you to live. You have to realize that I only eat 10 vegetables in a life and something of that nature. I eat bread, I eat peanut butter, I eat soy milk, I eat tofu, I eat nuts, seeds, and peanuts as well. I also go for rice and pasta. I can eat when it's a variety meal. I can go and grow myself something to eat from the restaurant. I realized that I never cook, I never clean I never peel my vegetables. I never peel anything in terms of food. I never boil my food. I never fry my food. I never refrigerate my food. I only eat canned food. I mean, I can eat potatoes as well. I have potatoes, I have red kidney beans, I have all types of beans I can eat. I realize that's more than enough for me to change it up every single day. You have to understand that I can just live on that. I mean, beans have high proteins in terms of plant protein. I promise you that you're much better off eating 4 cans of beans every single day than eating a pig or anything else. You have to understand that it's going to give you more energy. You have to understand that those people who are much faster in life and going throughout life, adapting quicker and are planning ahead more and more in their journal are really the people who are brainstorming more and are they are really gaining more smarts and material in terms of wisdom only. I mean, anything else is a failure business. You need more wisdom. You need to write your story more, and you need to learn about wisdom and how to get more knowledge every single day of your life. I promise you that's the only way to go about life. I promise you those people who are going to study everything, I mean, curious about what's going on over here, curious about this person and his background, curious about how to get her and what to do about that. You have to understand that you need to go and learn all that. You need to go and study from those people who can teach you that. You need to go and study and be a student all your life, because that's the most exciting journey. I promise you that's the best business in the world. I promise you that many people are stuck and never read. I mean, they stay fat throughout life. I mean, they stay ugly throughout life. I mean, they stay in a 9-to-5 job throughout life. I mean, they're never really learning more skills. You have to understand that I'm able to be without a 9-to-5 job because I learn and grow. I learn and grow, and I never need the 9-to-5 job because I'm aware of what's going on in the economy today. I'm aware of what's going on with my mentors. I'm always updated with my mentors. I always learn and study from what they say. I'm always looking to Jesus more than them. I mean, whatever they say, I relate it with Jesus Christ, and I make my own material spreading Jesus' name more. You have to understand that they believe that McDonald's is some big high prize winner in terms of the world and how much they have real estate. I never care about that because I see Jesus never cares about real estate. You have to understand, you have to be careful where you get your information, although you just accumulate more information anyway. You have to understand that eventually you just have to keep learning and learning and learning and question everything that you're being taught. You have to understand that even those people who have millions of dollars and billions of dollars today in possessions, I mean, that's never really going to satisfy you. I mean, a person may have a jet. I realize that jet is never going to teach you more than Jesus will. I realize that 500 million real estate are really never going to teach you more in the world except for give you more possessions. I mean, possessions will only give you possessions. I will also say that you can turn possessions into Jesus' wisdom. I mean, I'll show you how. You go and grab money and possessions and you throw it into wisdom. You'll learn wisdom, you'll learn something from books. I promise you that those books will relate it to Jesus. You will learn more of Jesus that way. I promise you, although you can go and grab some money in terms of possessions, I mean, you just never work for the possessions. You understand? I mean, you never work for money and possessions. You just get a government handout or whatever. You get the money, you throw it into your music. I mean, you go and give $100 to this guy to play a nice guitarist melody. You go and connect it in one part of the track. You go and give $200 to this drummer to play a drum track. I realize now you have a drum track with a bass guitarist playing a melody. You go and grab this person to sing something over this. I promise you that person will sing some melody over it. You have a nice beautiful track there. You can go and bounce it into your social media account and you can start sharing around. You created something beautiful from the possessions in the world. I promise you it's much greater to do that than to go around and chasing money and all this nature, because you have to understand that when people love you, they're going to message you. You have to understand when you love the world in terms of communicating for free and sharing the message around of growth, I promise you more people are going to be interested in you and give you attention than those people who never do because you never even gave them love in the first place. You have to understand that you never complain about why people are not calling you. You go and contact them and you give them some love first, and I promise you that they'll feel loved to even message you back. I promise you that you never wait for a phone call. I promise you never wait for a friend. I promise you never wait for sex. I promise you that you have to go and get it. I promise you that you go and get all of that. I promise you, although, that you never even worry about sex, you just go and grow as a person, and I promise you that eventually women and men are going to start chasing you. You have to understand, no matter what, that you never worry about life. You have to realize that you have to really, really outsmart individuals. You have to understand that in order for you to outsmart individuals, you have to be smarter, you have to grow smarter, you have to do something smarter than them. You have to really learn how to sharpen your mind. I mean, your mind is not your mind. I mean, you have to sharpen your wisdom skills. You have to really, really do your heart more than anything else, because your heart is what takes the action. I promise you that your mind will think it over and will say that this is what must go. I promise you then your heart will take over. I promise you your heart will take over and say, I will never again do this because I can see that it never makes sense for me to do it. I promise you then your mind may say, just give me a chance to do it again. I promise you, although your heart will say no. I promise you that your heart will say no. I promise you then, if you move your heart into it, you've lost. You understand? I'll give you an example. I promise you this person has been watching pornography for 13 years. I promise you the guy really says that it's very bad for him. I promise you, although he keeps watching it. I promise you now that this person is really saying, I will never go and do it again. I promise you that's the mind saying it. I promise you he set the discipline to never watch pornography again. I promise you now, the mind's got nothing to do with I promise you the mind's got nothing to do with it anymore. I realize now it's really the heart. I realize now all you have to do is let go and let God. I mean, you never go to the website in the first place. I mean, you never go and study. I mean, you go and study what everything is. You just never really go and act out anymore to pornography. I mean, in order for you to act out, you have to start realizing that you have to start doing some actions along with that. I realize that when you feel tempted to go and watch pornography, you just sit still. You sit still in a way that you're meditating and growing, and you figure out what your mind is saying in that moment, and you're just really with yourself. I mean, you're with yourself and you're never taking action to go and watch pornography. I mean, when you take the action, you have to grab your phone. I mean, that's the heart. I mean, the heart grabs the phone. I mean, the heart will start doing this. I mean, it will start doing the actions. I promise you, we'll start writing the words. I promise you, we'll start watching the videos. I promise you, we'll have to scroll into the videos. You have to understand that it's all action-based. I promise you that you never even have to do that. You just sit still. I promise you, let God. I promise you, let go and let God. I promise you that when you're tempted to do heroin or any drug or anything that's negative, you just sit still and you never go there. I promise you, you'll still be making progress. You understand? I promise you that it's only when you get tricked by the mind that it's somehow interesting to go and do heroin. I promise you then you're going to die because you tricked yourself. You really believed your own mind. You understand? You believed your mind that heroin is good. You lied to yourself. You never lied to yourself, guys. You never lied to anybody. You have to understand that the only foundation of thinking is growing. You have to understand you have to grow. You can only grow by being disciplined. You can only grow by staying away from certain places and people and energy in terms of anything that's going to take your energy. I promise you that energy is good. You need more energy. I promise you, I'm a vegan. I have more energy than ever now. I promise you, vegans have more energy than those people who eat meat. I promise you, the person's eating meat and the fat. I've never seen a fat vegan in my life. You understand? I've never seen a fat vegan in my life. You have to ask yourself, who is a fat vegan and vegetarian in your community? I promise you'll never find one. You have to understand that those people who say they eat nothing but good and they're still fat, I never care about them. I mean, they're lying, you understand? I see they're still fat. You have to understand that you go and learn something. You have to be a person growing. You have to be curious about life. You have to be really open with people and growing them instead of doing nothing with them. You have to understand that the new mentality and the new fashion today is going to be interesting. I mean, when people see your profile and your social media account, I hope to God that they see something beautiful. I mean, I hope to God that they see something very interesting and successful about you. I mean, those people who are more successful are really quick on the feet and are really learning something every single minute of every single day. I mean, they're learning every single second. I mean, they're always doing something. I realized that in order for me to tackle 3 hours a day, I have 4 hours until 12. I have 4 hours until 12. I have to, in between that, I have to do a 1 hour video. I realized that I never even focus on another 2 hours of video. I focus on the first hour. I mean, I'm already doing this hour. I realized that in my next hour, you have to understand that I have 4 hours between the time to do that. I can go and do it. I can do it in an hour's time. I can do it in 1 hour's time. I realized no matter what, before I sleep, around 2 a.m, I can do another 1 hour. I realized no matter what, I'm only doing 1 hour today anyway. You have to understand that I have no pressure to do these videos. I'm only sticking to 1 hour today. I mean, I may never even do the 2 hours today. Extra. You have to understand, I'm only sticking to this 1 hour now. I promise you when I finish the video, I then will say I have to do a 1 hour video. I mean, I just believe in the 1 hour video. I believe in Jesus Christ only. I believe in the 1 hour video for Jesus Christ. You have to understand that no matter what, I just stick to the 1 hour basic. I stick to the one principle. I stick to the one rule. I mean, what's the time today? I mean, the time for me is 1 o'clock always. I mean, the time is 1. I mean, the time is now. You understand? I never care about any number. I mean, what's my age today? I mean, my age is now. I mean, my age is now. I mean, I'm growing. I never have to limit myself to 28. You understand? I never care about my age. I never even ask a question anymore. I realize no matter what, I do ask questions. I do ask how younger people, I mean, I already see what the time is. I already see what age it is. I never have to ask them those questions. I never have to ask what age is somebody, because age never matters. I promise you that this moment does. I promise you that everybody's age is this moment. You never again have to go and ask people about what is their age. I mean, you have to understand that the age is now. You understand? You have to understand that no matter what you're doing, you're just growing as a person. You never ask stupid questions when you can answer them yourself. You never ask what's the time. You just see the time is now. You see what the time is already. I have this just for the look. I have it for the look. I mean, the clothing I wear, I sleep in this. I sleep in this jumper. I got it for $30. I mean, 30 possessions. You understand? I had to give some possessions to gain one possession. You have to understand, no matter what, that I never worked for this. I never worked for this. I received possessions for free to get this. I went around Australia and received possessions for free to go around Australia and live my life for free. You have to understand that no matter what, I never get confused around possessions. I never care about possessions. I never work for it. I work for Jesus though. I got 560 possessions and I gave it into this one phone, which is a possession, to do a Jesus work here. I believe that Jesus work right here is much more than anything else. You have to understand that those people who are really, really smarter than criminals and everybody in life are really doing better. You have to understand that many people will never have any intention to grow you. You have to stay away from those people, because you have to realize that you have to go and study yourself much more than everybody else, although you can only grow those people who are negative. You have to understand that no matter what, you can never get negative around negative people. I mean, just because they're negative and smoking around you and hurting you, never means that you can never grow them. You have to understand, when somebody slaps you, you turn around and you kiss them on the cheek. You understand? You kiss them on the cheek. I mean, when somebody stabs you, you go and love them. I mean, you go and kiss their feet. I promise you that you did more good than that person. I promise you, no matter what, when somebody is really trying to destroy you, you go to them and you start really being compassionate to grow them instead. I promise you, when a person has a gun to your head, you go and give them something to drink. You understand? You go and give them, you show them love. I promise you, you'll never be killed. I promise you, they kill you, you'll be risen anyway. I promise you, you have to stand for something better in life. You have to stand for something better, you have to be better than those people around you. You can only be better when you're growing. I've got nothing else to do. I've got no girlfriend. I've only got Jesus. I wrote in a quote recently, I said that I'm only married to Jesus. I mean, those people who are single today are married to Jesus when you're following Jesus. I promise you, when you're never following Jesus, you never even have Jesus. You have to understand that I've got Jesus in my life. I seek out Jesus. That's why I say I have Jesus. I only have Jesus because I go and look for Jesus all the time. I always am a person who's saying something about Jesus because I have Jesus. I speak about Jesus all the time. I always have Jesus in mind. I promise you that those people who never speak about Jesus and never look at the Bible and never seek out God, never have God. I promise you, I need you to have God. I need you never to have God in terms of never. You have to understand, you always have to have God. You have to have somebody who's really inspirational in your life. You have to understand that Jesus is the most inspirational. You have to understand that Jesus really did live this life and that Jesus did save your life, because you can understand by biblical terms and what's happening around Jesus today is an inspirational module where you can go and relate to Jesus in everything. You can see that the person really lived life. You can see that Jesus had powers and that he was an incredible person in how he was living. I promise you, no matter what, that people will never just write about that for nothing. You understand? You have to understand that it was written in history over time. You have to understand that in those times, there were people who were studying Jesus and writing about Jesus. I mean, the 12 disciples were doing it. You understand? I mean, the Bible started with the 12 disciples. I mean, they were the ones who were writing around Jesus, because Jesus was saying, I need you guys to write about me. I need you to write about my actions and everything I do. I promise you that the crowd that killed Jesus never wrote about Jesus. I promise you that Jesus said, I need 12 disciples to write my Bible for me. I promise you that it worked out even better for those disciples, because Jesus saved everybody's life. I promise you, Jesus put his hand and stopped the ocean and made it still, because there was a big storm going on and the sun rose. You have to understand that it was written in the Bible by the disciples. You understand? I mean, the disciples stand for it. I promise you, Jesus could never write the Bible alone. I promise you, no matter what, that Jesus can do anything. You have to understand that Jesus can do anything. You have to understand, although, that without humanity, we will never even recognize Jesus. I mean, you have to understand that without Jesus in our lives, we can do nothing. I promise you, I never believe in humanity, I believe in Jesus. I promise you, no matter what, although that Jesus never needs humanity, you have to understand. We need Jesus. You have to understand that Jesus came to help us. I would always go and be privileged to go and help Jesus now, because of how Jesus is good and inspirational and what's going on in their life. It's just Jesus Christ. You have to understand that those people who are really moving forward, are really doing something around the camera and are doing something in accordance to being an entrepreneur and problem solving, everything in their life in order to help everybody see Jesus and to live a better world. You have to understand that you never go and look what people are doing. You go and look at what Jesus is doing all the time. I'm always focused on Jesus, because that's the word. I promise you, that's the best way to see life. I promise you, the best way to see life is go and study more of the Bible and what it says, so you can really understand it. I promise you, when you say no to that, you're a person who's never willing to grow. I mean, those people who reject Jesus are closed-minded people and never grow. You have to go and accept. You have to accept to learn. I promise you, when you accept to learn, I promise you that's your first step into going and seeing what Jesus needs. You have to understand that those people who are really learning and growing in daily life and doing something according to their mindset and how to connect the dots in a video and in the journal and with people also, you have to understand that no matter what happens, that you're only growing. You only have to be growing. You only have to be saying how to do everything. You never say what to do, you say how to do it. You understand? I mean, when you show people how, you're showing people how to get to your position. I mean, you're never showing people what to do. I mean, anybody can go and say, I need you to grab that jar and put it over there. I mean, that's what to do. I promise you, although when you teach them how, you'll say, I'll teach you what this jar is over here, because when you eat peanuts in this jar, which is peanut butter, I'm showing you how I'm connecting the dots, because a jar that looks like this has peanut butter in it. I promise you, no matter what, I just showed you how, in terms of, I taught you how to teach what's inside the jar. You understand? I taught you how. I now will say that in order for you to have nice, clear skin, you need to eat more peanut butter. You understand? I've shown you how to get more clear skin and beautiful skin over here. You understand? I show you the how. I promise you the what is nothing compared to the how. I promise you that in the 9 to 5 job, that people are ordering people what to do. I mean, they're saying, you pick up that, you put it here. You come with me, you go over there, you speak to him. I mean, that's what? I mean, just orders. I mean, they follow instructions. You have to understand that instructions is all what to do. I mean, how to do the instructions is something different. I mean, you write out a list of instructions and you teach people based on the instructions what to do. I mean, and instructions manual over here is more on how to than it is what to. I mean, it shows you how. I mean, it opens the door. I mean, what only will, I promise you that what will only close the door. I promise you, although, that what is a question. I need to understand when you're saying, you pick up peanut butter, you chuck it at that man. I promise you that's the what, and there's nothing teaching you there. I promise you there's literally people, get this, and I promise you they go and chuck it at the person without really thinking about what that person said. I mean, they just go and do as they're told. I mean, you have to really make common sense of what people are saying. I mean, when somebody says, go and jump off the bridge, would you do it? I mean, you have to understand that go jump off the bridge means what? I mean, there's nothing teaching you there. I promise you, just an order for you to go. You go, jump off the bridge. I don't know what that means because I never do it. I understand that jumping off the bridge is very bad for you. You understand? I promise you that jumping off the bridge though, while you have experience to go and fly the city on something that can make you fly, I promise you then you go and jump off the bridge and do it yourself and you'll never be scared because you'll never die. I promise you there are people who are jumping off mountains and flying on their own. I promise you how brave that is. I've never done that because I've never learned how. I've never studied how. I was never interested. I was never interested in how to do that. I was scared. I mean, when you're scared of something, you go and learn it. You go and learn what you're scared about. I promise you that the more you dig into how to jump off a cliff by yourself, when you get all the knowledge about it, I promise you, you'll never make a mistake. I mean, in life, you'll never ever have all the knowledge. You have Jesus though, and that's everything. You just have to realize that Jesus has all the knowledge. I promise you, Jesus will teach you for eternity. I promise you, that means forever. I mean, knowledge is forever. I mean, there's always more knowledge to go. I mean, in knowledge, there's all scenarios. I mean, all scenarios is forever. You have to understand that life is unlimited in Jesus only. I mean, before Jesus Christ, people would live their lives and die and perish. I mean, there is no eternity for them. I mean, there's no afterworld. I mean, when Jesus comes now, I mean, Jesus is here. I mean, Jesus came and says there is an afterworld where you will live in eternity and you'll never be on the earth again. I promise you, that is the good news. You understand? I mean, you'll be reborn again inside Jesus Christ in eternity only. I mean, you'll never be in this world again. I mean, you live only once over here. You understand? I promise you that there is many worlds out there. You understand? I promise you in Jesus' heaven, there is many worlds. I promise you there's only good. I promise you that in Jesus' heaven, that Jesus rules with God. And we are all with Jesus, together as a family. You understand? I mean, there's only a parade going, and King Jesus is up there on his throne. You understand? You have to understand that we have the best king in the world. I mean, we have a king, a real king. You have to understand, we have a real king who is a God. I mean, who saved our lives. I promise you that no matter what, that it's all you ever really need. I mean, in eternity, in the afterworld, I promise you, in the afterworld, where God is and where Jesus is sitting on the throne, I promise you there is no slavery. I promise you there's fruits and everyone is celebrating. I promise you Avicii is there. I promise you all the people who are famous and died are there. I promise you, no matter what, that everybody who died after Jesus Christ is there, no matter who killed who. I promise you that's the good news. Because you have to understand that the ego kills people and that people never kill people. You have to understand that everybody in this life has an ego. You have to understand that it's Satan. You have to understand that when you let the ego and mind control you, you will be a slave to the mind and other people and of this world. I promise you, although, when you overcome the mind and when you keep overcoming it by teaching more and growing more and learning more, is the only way that you can overcome the mind and ego. You will find out how to be more like Jesus, who overcame the world. Because to overcome the world is to overcome the mind and the people in it and the possessions, and also to walk free like Jesus did. I mean, I promise you that Jesus was always walking for free. I mean, the guy never gave possessions of this world for anything. You understand? I promise you that Jesus' disciples made everything come true in terms of gave everything in terms of food and accommodation for Jesus. I promise you that nobody in this life can make anything come true other than Jesus. I promise you that only Jesus can ever make anything come true. I promise you that no matter what, you understand that you never ever believe in people, you only believe in Jesus. You have to understand that is the quickest way to overcome life and the quickest way to really do anything. You need to adapt, you need to really be speed. You have to be speed. You have to be a person who's really fast to learn. You have to start rotating your propeller to learn more. I mean, when you're getting tired, you have to ask yourself, why are you tired? Did you eat too much? Are you around negative people? Are you doing drugs? Are you drinking alcohol? Are you hungover? I mean, if you're hungover and you're tired and you're miserable, why are you still doing it? I mean, it makes sense to quit. I mean, when that person's violent with you, why are you still with them? You understand? Or why are you still with her when she's violent? Why are you still with her when she's causing drugs? Why are you still with her when she's putting heroin into your child? I don't know. You have to understand that the world, as we see it today, is crazy. You have to understand that no matter what, that Jesus is never crazy. You understand? That anything that's crazy and negative in the world is something other than Jesus. I promise you that it's all drama related and people causing drama and negativity around in the planet. I promise you that as long as this world has negativity, I promise you that Jesus will never return here. I promise you that one person who is negative can go and kill Jesus. I promise you, especially today, because today there's guns. I promise you that somebody can get a sniper who's negative and shoot Jesus, who is on the van and saying hello, like Gavrilo Princip did the King of Austria and Hungary and Germany back in World War One. I promise you, no matter what, that Jesus could be that person who is saying to the crowd, I love you all, and then get shot and die. I mean, Jesus would be human, you understand? I promise you, although, that back in Jesus' times, there were no guns, and I promise you there were weapons. I promise you there was a whip, and there was a sword, and all of that. I promise you back then that there were no guns and pistols. I promise you that if you imagine, I promise you no matter what, you can see that the crowd who killed Jesus, you can see that if they had any guns on them, I promise you they're going to shoot Jesus. I mean, they would shoot Jesus. You understand? You have to understand that now the times are changing, and you have to understand that the times are always the same. I don't care what age it is. I mean, we may have more in terms of materialistic possessions in the world. I promise you that never matters to Jesus. I promise you that never matters. I promise you that what matters is eternal life and the afterworld and what Jesus needs. And you have to understand that in order for you to go about life, you just have to look at the Bible and what the Bible says. You have to understand that you relate everything with the Bible, and that you're really a person who's motivating in daily life and really looking better than yesterday. I mean, be all you can be, as Jim Rohn says. I mean, be all you can be, as John C. Maxwell says. I mean, be all you can be, as Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins say. I mean, be all you can be, as I and Jesus and Tony Robbins and also Robert Kiyosaki and everybody in life can say. You have to understand that no matter what, you're just a person who's really growing. You need to understand that no matter what, that those people who never believe in growing are really never for Jesus. I mean, those people who are closed-minded to Jesus are also closed-minded to being positive. I mean, they never connect the dots. I mean, they're never studying. I mean, they're never doing anything of relevance that's going to help anybody. I'd rather stay away from those people. I'd rather be a person who's really positive and doing something positive than negative. I'd rather learn and see who everybody is. I promise you, I'd rather see who everybody is than never see at all. I promise you, when people come and say for you to go and check something out, I promise you that you go and check it out because you just be curious. You do it for the sake of being curious and open-minded. I promise you, although, that when it makes common sense for you never to do it, you go and never do it. I promise you that many people believe they make common sense about Jesus and they never studied Jesus. I mean, they went by the words of others. I mean, they believe that the other people make common sense. You don't believe that other people make common sense, you go and make your own common sense. You understand? I promise you guys that when you're making more common sense and growing, you'll be able to also pick up speed. You'll be able to have a massive life that's a longevity one, which is another word for living longer. You have to understand that you go and do everything necessary for yourself to grow around leaders who are today more successful, and you have to look at Jesus also to remember that anybody who is saying anything to today's world, you have to understand that those people who are saying today in terms of anything that is in today's world, who are speaking about anything in today's world, you need to go to Jesus and you need to relate everything to Jesus in that message. You need to see what Jesus will do and make common sense out of it. I promise you that is how to go about life, and everything I've said in this video also vibrates with that. I promise you guys, no matter what, I hope that you do share this video. I hope that you go out and inspire today. I hope that you go and find Jesus Christ. I promise you that He's no further than the Bible. I promise you that you can go online and read some verses for yourself and study Jesus Christ over your lifetime. I promise you that you'll grow more than ever. I promise you that you guys have a wonderful day. I hope to see you soon. I'll see you in the next video, and I bless you in Jesus Christ's name.